So that is what a company is, and company is derived from a Latin word called companies. But when it comes to the company, the business is totally different and the person who are the owner are totally different. Company will stay, but the members and the owners will die because they are the real person and company is being an artificial person. Here transferability happens in the public company, but not in the private company. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Abhilash Chandra from the Department of Commerce and Management in Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome to the first session of the Company Act. Now, the Company Act is the first unit and you are supposed to know what exactly happens in the Companies Act. But before that, I'll tell you the real things that are very important for the examination point of view. You are supposed to understand about the University of MYSURU, what exactly they can ask and what are the questions which gonna come in the examination. The firstly here you need to go with this, the definition which is compulsory for all the question whichever comes in the question paper, and then you have features of Companies Act 2013 which is for 10 marks, and then the later is limited liability partnership. I'll be explaining you more about the limited liability of partnership. Please understand these things, and then we'll go for the next one is about types of companies and followed by functions of SEBI. These are the topics which are very important in this chapter. So let's go with the basic one, that is the first one is all about what is a company. Students, you need to know that company is an artificial person. When I say that company is an artificial person, you will be shocked, but I'll tell you what it is. It's the law which has given a beautiful feature for a company, that is company is not real, but still it is an artificial person. So what exactly this artificial person is all about? It is not the way it can breathe the way we are. It cannot talk, it cannot run, it cannot move, but still we say company is an artificial person because the law says that we have created a new form of business that is called as company, where a company will play everything according to the common seal which has been given to the company. And when I say this common seal, company cannot act the way we are acting. Company will act on behalf of the members and the directors of the company. And here what exactly the special feature is all about voluntarily association of people. When I say voluntarily association of people, you should know that company being an artificial person cannot force, or anybody cannot force anybody to come and join a company. It should be done by voluntarily associated. And one more feature is all about, it is a perpetual succession. When I say perpetual succession, please remember that company is not a real person. It is an artificial person. So death is also not the normal. So it is always what? Members can die, but company will remain until a liquidation and the closure of the company is happening. So here what it is, it goes for a long run, perpetual succession. Members can die, but company remains alive. And lastly, we have something called company is all about one beautiful feature which is in all the other business of forms of business is that is called as limited liability. Company has something called limited liability. So we'll go with what exactly a company is all about. The word company derives from a Latin word called companies. Now the companies means a group of persons who took their needs together. So to accomplish any kind of a thing, you need people. I'll tell you students, if you are individual and if you want to do something, I'll tell you, you cannot achieve the way you really want to achieve it. So you should always have people with you and then you are supposed to go. If you ask me a question, sir, Usain Bolt is the #1 athlete and he's all alone and he's doing it. If you ask me, I'll tell it is not the real truth. though is all alone doing it and he's getting all the gold medal all alone, but when it comes to the practice or when it comes to the training, what happens is the entire people are involved for his success. That's why it should always not be me, it should always be we. So go for this. The next one is a company is voluntary association of person formed by some common purpose with capital divisible into parts known as shares. So here you have got a new word called shares. I'll tell you more about shares because this entire chapter is all about a company and how it starts and how it ends. The next one we have is the definition. Yes, Justin Lindley. Now you should know who Justin Lindley is. Justin Lindley was a Lord Justin in Lord Justice in England, and there in 1900 he was marked as a remarkable person in the entire United Kingdom. So you should know that this person was a legend. And here what he says is company is an association of many person. So what it is, company is an association of many person. When he says many person, what exactly they do, please understand, who contribute money or money's worth. When I say money and money's worth, please go back to the days where barter system was happening. Now barter system is a system where the buying and selling of goods used to happen with the goods, right? Whatever you have, you were supposed to give it to somebody and get something which you don't have. The same way what the other person will also do is the same kind of a thing, barter system. So we call that as money's worth. Here also what happens is there are few people who goes with money and there are few people who go with money's worth, and to a common stock and employ it to some trade. They'll go with some kind of a trade or a business and who share profit. That means here profit is being shared arising there from. So what happens here is without profit nobody does anything, and you should always know that business is all about economic activity. It is all what? Economic activity. So this is what the real business is all about. So here without profit, you will not do any kind of a thing. Here it is a voluntary association of people where the people are into one kind of a thing, that is money or money's worth, and they trade or they do business, and then whatever the profit they get, they'll actually share it each other. So that is what a company is, and company is derived from a Latin word called companies. That means it's like group of people are there and they are doing some kind of a work. Now you should know more about company, and I'll tell you more about the company. We'll go with the features of a company. If you know the features of company, you will get to know what exactly a company is all about. The first thing is, as I told you, that voluntary association. See, you cannot force anybody, right? And that too in India, if you go with it, I'll tell you, we are in a democratic country. Again, here also we are not forcing anybody, we are electing people. So voluntarily the person should come and get a nominee, only then we'll go for the election. So here company also have a feature called voluntary association. The next one is incorporated association. What is this incorporated? When I say incorporated, that means they need to get it registered. So a company will be a company only when it goes for a registration, or else you cannot start or you cannot make anything as a company, and the feature of company will be absent if there is no incorporation. So very, very important point, that is, one is voluntarily association. So it can be a minimum, maximum, all I'll tell you more about it in the next sessions. But here you should know that it should be a voluntary association and incorporated. The thirdly we have it is a separate legal entity. So please understand, the other forms of business like sole proprietor, partnership, here what happens is they're not separate legal entity, they're all same legal entity. That means business and the person are the same. But when it comes to the company, the business is totally different and the person who are the owner are totally different. So what exactly that means? That means that company has been given a special feature, that is artificial person. So we need to consider a company has a person in whole. When we consider that person in whole, what happens is a company can do whatever a company wants to do it, but the members and the owners are totally different. So we call that as separate legal entity. Entity means identity, so it has a legal entity, right? Next thing is separate property. What is a separate property? Supposingly a sole proprietor is there, a sole trader is there, right? When he buys any property in the name of the business, the property and he are all considered as one. But when it comes to a company, when the company wants to buy or it wants to sell, it is all the company side but not the owner of the thing. You should always know that who is the owner of a company. You have two types of company, public company and a private company. When it comes to it, the real owner of the company are the shareholders. So who are the owners? The shareholders are the owners. But can the shareholder run a company? Definitely no. That's why we always appoint people like the board of directors. Now, board of directors are the one who run the company. So on behalf of the board of directors, what usually happens is the board of director who wants to buy a land, they cannot buy a land according to their name and wish. They need to actually buy a land on behalf of a company. That's why what happens is we have a separate property for the company itself. If there is a loss in a company and they want to liquidate, the company need to sell its property. It is not the owners who are gonna sell their property. It should be what? The company which will sell the property. Next one is legal restrictions. Yes. For this, you should know that there is something called a common seal. Common seal. Now what happens is a company has a common seal. You need to understand that company cannot sign, right? Because though it is an artificial person, so whatever I'm telling you right now is a company cannot sign. When it cannot sign, what it does, how to buy, how to go for transaction, it goes with a legal, that is a common seal which has been incorporated. It is all registered and then it starts its own kind of a thing. So it goes with more of legal things or documentation. I'll talk more about memorandum of association, article of association. These are the legal document which is carried by the company. And then nextly here we'll have something called as perpetual succession. I told you that in a company what usually happens is company is all about perpetual succession. What exactly this perpetual succession means? Company will not die, company will stay, but the members and the owners will die because they are the real person and company is being an artificial person. So company has a long duration. I'll give you examples like Tata Groups. Now Tata, when it was started, that is JRD Tata, he started. Even now Tata Groups are there. If you compare the share price of Tata, which was somewhere around 3 rupees, 4 rupees, right now it is 171 rupees. What it is? JRD Tata is no more. Ratan Tata is here. Now after Ratan Tata, somebody else will be there, but still Tata Groups will be there. That is what is called perpetual succession. The next one is common seal. I have already spoken about common seal. What exactly a common seal is? Company cannot sign or company cannot go for any kind of a legality if common seal isn't there. That's why you are supposed to make a common seal. The next one here is ownership and management. When I say ownership, the real owner of a company are its shareholders. The company will only go with the what exactly the shareholder wants to do. They always go with AGM, that is annual general meeting. In the annual general meeting, the shareholders who are the real owner of a company, that to the equity shareholders, they are the owner of the company. Now they'll tell what exactly to be done, but the management is done by the BOD, that is board of directors. Now the board of directors are the managers and the equity shareholders are the owners of a company. Nextly, we have as limited liability. So what is this limited liability? Please understand that. In the other forms of business like sole trader, partnership, we had a demerit, that is unlimited liability. What is this unlimited liability? If I am a sole proprietor and I have taken credits, I have taken loan from somebody for my business. Now my business and me both are same because we don't have separate legal entity, we have a single entity. When we go with it, if the business is doing flop, if I'm actually making loss in my business, if I need to actually give my loans back, then what is that I should do? I need to dissolve my business and then give it to it. That means if I don't have anything in my business, I need to sell my personal property and then deal the business. But here what happens is, here we have limited liability. That means company is different and the members and the owners are different. When I say this, when a company has taken loan of some crores and company is not able to pay it back, the owners and the management will not sell their personal property for any of the debts. Now what happens is, they'll sell the company's property but not their property. That's why we say that it has something called limited liability. Next one is transferability of shares. This is a very important feature which you should know, that there are two types of company, as I told you, public company and private company. There are few companies where transfer of share is very easy, but there are few companies where transferability of shares are very difficult. In a public company, easily we can transfer the shares, but when it comes to private company, the shares are not transferred the way it is done in the public. I'll tell you, in a private company, the shares are not even transferred, but there are few clauses where it can actually transfer from one person to the person in his family itself, or the nominee, what he has done. But again, law and the clauses are too many which he should actually go for it. And then what happens, a meeting also happens and then they'll discuss, and only then everybody give a consent, then it can happen to the nominee but not to the other person, or he should give the shares back to the company itself. So these are the features of company. So I'll just take a quick recall. We have voluntary association, incorporated association, then we have separate legal entity, separate property, legal restrictions, then we have perpetual succession, common seal, ownership and management, then limited liability, and the last one is transferability of shares. Here transferability happens in the public company but not in the private company. So these are the things which you are supposed to know. Students, if you have any doubt regarding the session, you are supposed to call us. Don't be hesitant. We are always there to help the students at large, and that too, Vidhyaashram is the only college which is doing all the things only to the students. Thank you so much. Until then, I'll see you when I see you.